What's good, y'all? This is BJ's of the BJ's Show, and welcome to the third episode of the Kobe Bryant series. I sincerely apologize, first of all, for being a little bit late with this episode. I have been, super busy, super swamped with other obligations pertaining to the Clippers and my podcast and stuff like that. So I said to myself, you know what, this weekend I'm just going to take time away, do my videos for you guys so I can make sure to get this content out there. First off, I want to give a shout out to all my people, who's been subscribed, who is now um, Patreon members. My man, Zeddy Perry, my other guy, Jonel Santana, and of course, my man, D-Rob. You know what I'm saying? All Clipper fans, continues to support the Patreon. Continuously support by, sharing with your other, fans and family and friends, other men or women who you guys think this could be a very, very gem to. But like I said, this is a channel, Patreon, for particularly men, black men, but also women and other, genders are welcomed as well, and groups of people. So now, this is a title. I don't know what I'm going to name it as, but I said it's going to be volume 3 of the Kobe Bryant episode series pertaining to Kobe Bryant. I've already done 2 volumes already, within the last couple of weeks. The first episode, of course, was Kobe Bryant, was talking about, basically him and his parents' relationship. The second one was Kobe Bryant's wife, Vanessa Bryant, speaking upon her and her background, things of that nature. And I said this third episode is going to be a combination of Kobe Bryant's parents and his wife and the rift that they had, and some inside information that I know. And also speaking of my experiences as well, that this can, not only just pertain to me, but adapt to, people who's viewing this show. And I think that you guys will find this very, very, useful. So let's get to it. All right, y'all. So, like I said, Kobe Bryant and his parents, and Kobe Bryant and his wife, obviously there was a strain of their relationship between, him, his wife, who's been with them for 20 years. They got married back in 2001. They met when they were just, Vanessa was 17 years old and Kobe Bryant, I think, was 21, in the NBA. So they're very, very young. They were, basically two kids that, met each other at probably the most weirdest time. Both of them, one of them is in high school, which Vanessa, and Kobe Bryant obviously was a young man, trying to find his way into the NBA, before his first championship. So this was something where, you know, the whole happy, falling in love at, a young age story came in, just kind of like the Cinderella story. But nonetheless, they did meet at a very young age, and they was able to, pertain to marriage, past 20 years. And, they, had a very, very strong connection, had some bumps in the road. I talked about that as well. How they both almost got divorced back in 2011. Of course, the whole thing in 2004 with Kobe Bryant, the Eco Colorado situation. Of course, being a wife of a basketball player or any type of superstar at that point, it's going to be a lot of, things that you have to really, really be flexible with. And you have to, really understand, if you want to have the lifestyle that is afforded to you. It's not always peaches and cream to be a wife of a NBA star or NBA player or an athlete just in general. A lot of things can come with that. And the bigger the star, probably the more you have to deal with. So they pretty much dealt with a lot of ups and downs, obstacles, turns and things of that nature. But they was able to retain their marriage past 20 years. But like I said, it all started back in 2001. And of course, it wasn't just Kobe Bryant and his wife, Vanessa, but it also pertained to Kobe Bryant and his parents, Pam and Joe Bryant, who Kobe Bryant had a, very, very close relationship up until they met. They met Vanessa. Um, I spoke, about this in the first volume about just how their background is in Kobe Bryant's background and with his parents. His father, Joe Bryant, played in the NBA, also played overseas in Italy. I think he had like a 16-year career altogether. If you combine overseas and NBA, and you know, basically taught Kobe Bryant how to play basketball. Basically taught him how to be, the basketball player that he is today. Now, of course, Joe Bryant wasn't as good as Kobe, wasn't, as great as him, but he did teach him the ropes and, put the ball in his hands. And you know, they had a very, very close relationship just simply off of that. Um, his mother, Pam Bryant, also a former athlete herself in high school, from Philadelphia, just like Joe, where they both met. And you know, Pam was the mother of Kobe Bryant. In an interview, I remember Kobe speaking about he was more like his mother than his father, as far as the competitiveness and the personality and the edge. He got a lot of his traits from his mother. You kind of see the resemblance. They do kind of look a little bit alike. You know, of course, the same eyebrows, the same, you know what I'm saying, kind of the same mouth. Uh, it kind of, you know, they kind of do have some similarities. And as of Kobe Bryant and his father, but they had a very, very close relationship between the three. This is, of course, the championship they won in 2000. Both of his parents were present. And you know, this is before they met. She met Kobe Bryant met his wife to be, Vanessa. Right now, a couple of things I want to point out. When Kobe and Vanessa met, they met and they got married within a year. Right? Kobe Bryant met Vanessa when she was 17. When she turned 18, she automatically became a wife to Kobe. So the quick turnaround, as you can imagine, put a lot of people off guard. Where they like, what the hell? How did you get married so early? You know, where did the time go? Where did the twist turn? And you know, not just Kobe's parents, but even Vanessa's parents were against a lot of. They're kind of, you know, blindsided by the, you know, proposal and then how quickly the turnaround went. So you fast forward a year, Kobe Bryant and Vanessa Bryant told their parents what they're about to get ready to do, and of course they disapproved. They did not approve of this marriage. I talked about this in the second volume. Again, if you guys have not saw the first two volumes, please make sure you guys go check those out before you watch this one, because it will make much more sense by what I'm talking about. And y'all can come back to this. But if you guys have, you know, continuously enjoy the show. But both sides, both parties, for different reasons, were against the marriage, right? Vanessa Bryant's parents, Sophia Lane and you know, her stepdad Robert Lane was against the marriage because they felt they were too young. Basically saying that you know, you guys are, you know, too young to get married. What do you know about being a wife? You just met this guy. He's an athlete. Yada yada yada. That's pretty much where, you know, the father of Vanessa Bryant was come the stepfather. As I, you know, mentioned the other, you know, show, Vanessa's real father was actually, you know, in Mexico after the divorce. He had with Vanessa's mother, Sophia, right? They lived in Garden Grove, California, and she lived in Huntington Beach, California as well. And like as I said, she married. They lived there, and then Robert Lane was, you know, Vanessa's stepfather. That's where she gets the last name Lane from, right? So she is of Mexican descent, but she was raised by a white man, um, you know, in her high school years, of course. But back to the scoop. That was their reasoning. The reasoning of Kobe's parents was because Vanessa Bryant was not African American. Now, I'm pretty sure that, you know, they feel like they were too young, but as far as what I document and what I know personally, they had a problem with Vanessa Bryant not being African American. You guys do remember that Kobe Bryant took his bride, or took Brandy, who was a R&B, you know, celeb at the time, to his prom. You gotta remember that. They went to prom together, and all his parents were there. And I guess his sisters Sharia and Shaya both supported that as well. So, you know, it was all laughs and smiles in that. It was all good, you know, when, you know, they took Brandy to the prom. So they had an issue more so with, you know, Vanessa not being African American. Um, Now I did not know that, you know, particularly until, you know, after that situation happened. I did not know that until years down the line, but that was definitely probably the main reason why. So back to the story. This put, of course, a strain on the relationship. Now, I'm going to go over a few articles, as I, I'm saying, talk about this to kind of support what I'm talking about. Um, so after Kobe Bryant's death, there was a book that was, publicized. Said it was called "The Rise: Kobe Bryant and the Pursuit of Immortality." Right, that was the book that was posted 2 years after his death. So we're gonna go over a few articles to speak about and just give a little bit of a background of what really was going on. I'm going to also talk about the personal stories that I've heard, and also I'm gonna talk about my experiences where I think this all fits in for me. So let's read the first article right here. It says the book "The Rise: Kobe Bryant and the Pursuit of Immortality" was published 2 years after his death. Mike Salisky, who went deep into research and had a lot of interviews with people in Kobe Bryant's past, wrote the book. One of them was Jerry Treatman, a former assistant coach of Kobe Bryant during his time at Lower Merion. So again, Kobe Bryant being from Philadelphia, he went to Lower Merion High School, which is a suburb in Philadelphia. You guys got to remember, Kobe Bryant's father played in the NBA and overseas. And basically, after the simple fact that they were able to afford a pretty good lifestyle, right, to live up there in the northern side of Philly. So, this is his coach at the time. It says in the book, many individuals shared their experiences of attending Kobe's memorial ceremony, right? So Kobe Bryant's memorial, obviously his death, him and Gigi, his parents did show up, and he's gonna talk a little bit about the energy between Vanessa and Kobe Bryant's parents. Now, let's continue. I know something really interesting during his time at the ceremony. Vanessa talked about Gigi just as much as she did about Kobe. Vanessa handled the agenda today, and during the ceremony, there was no mention of Kobe Bryant's high school days or his parents. So, a little bit of a outlier. Vanessa Bryant was the one that was in charge of the planning, in charge of the events. The events talked about, um, and as you guys remember, there was no mention of his parents. Right, there was no mention of his parents. There was no mention of how his father put the ball into his hands. No mention of his mother taking care of him when they were younger. That was none of that stuff was even talked about. Now, usually, when you talk about a ceremony or a retirement, whatever, you basically talk about the man's entire life, not just a portion. And a lot of people were upset about that. I remember that ceremony, his retirement ceremony, where they talked about Kobe Bryant's second part, but not the life before that. A lot of black folks, especially, were very high. See, a lot of this stems to the feelings of black people and they put themselves in Pam and Joe Bryant's shoes. Um, you know, when you don't know the details of a situation or a story, it's easy for somebody to say, that's wrong, that's not right, that's his parents, that's this, that, and the other. But if you don't have all the details, you can't really make a accurate assumption. So what they do is they just go by the broad one. This is your father and your mother. They taught you, they brought you into this world. And many us, when I say us, black people felt the same way. But as you guys can see, Vanessa was the one that was in charge of the ceremony as far as the agenda and things that they were going to talk about. So let's continue. So in the book, his account describes the relationship without having to read between the lines. The iciness between her and Kobe's parents was still apparent. From what Treatment saw, they never interacted with or so much as glanced at each other before, during, or after the ceremony. So, um, this guy right here, Treatment, who's a former coach of Lower Merion, where Kobe Bryant played, obviously kept a relationship with Kobe Bryant, and you know, and that's what usually happens when you have a high school coach. If you have a good rapport with them, and play with them for 4 seasons, up from freshman to senior year, your experiences with your coach is going to last pretty much a lifetime, um, because that's just how athletes are with their coaches, who they're really cool with. I know I have a few relationships with my coaches to this day, because of a bond that you build. But let's go on to the last part of the article. Back in 2001, Kobe Bryant told his parents that he was planning on marrying Vanessa, but his parents were opposed to it. They wanted Kobe to marry an African American woman, but Vanessa, of course, was a Latina. So they went against the marriage. Like I mentioned earlier, their biggest rift was because Kobe Bryant was marrying Vanessa, who was not black. She was Latina. Now, there is also a story that I'm going to talk about as well, where this is going to stem from. But the picture that, um, I'm saying that, he was talking about, um, Kobe Bryant was actually upset that his parents did not, I'm saying, attend the wedding, right? It says they wanted Kobe to marry Latina, but Vanessa was so they were against the marriage. They did not attend. They did not attend his marriage. They did not attend his wedding in 2001. I remember that as well. It was a story more so like asking why his parents were not at the ceremony. Why was his sister not at the ceremony? When he married Vanessa. Very weird because just a year prior, before they met, his family was very, very happy together. They were, what I'm saying, close. Nothing could break them apart, right? Of course, you guys can see Joe Bryant right there next to Kobe. You see Shia in the middle. Their mother, Pam in the middle between them, and then Sharia in the far left in all black. Very beautiful family, right? So this is before Vanessa and them came to the picture. So when they see that the family is no longer, as close knit, and the only common denominator is Vanessa came to the picture, people started pointing fingers at her and saying, "You broke up the family." Again, this is coming from, if you do not have all the details and what I'm saying, take the time to actually research, or if you don't have the luxury of knowing certain people that were close to Kobe. But let me continue for a little bit more. Recapping, like I said, there was obviously a rift between Kobe Bryant and his parents. His parents never, and his parents and Vanessa never came together. Now, Kobe, from what I remember, from what I saw, actually was working on his relationship with his father. He was actually working on a relationship with his father, but his mother, him and them were not on speaking terms. And I'm gonna kind of tell y'all, what I believe went down, throughout the later parts of Kobe's life. But I do know his father and him were working on the relationship. I do know they were on speaking terms, but it looks like him and his mother were not on speaking terms at all. Right? So back to the point. That's one article. Now, of course, his parents were upset, what I'm saying, of, them marrying, he married a Latina woman. Um, but something happened, something changed. Kobe Bryant had his first daughter, Gianna, and they eventually came around to actually support Kobe Bryant in his decision. Right? Kids are a funny thing. They will bring families together. Um, so now that Kobe Bryant's having kids now, and he's about to, they're about to be grandparents, Joe and Pam, they decided to come around. I believe it was in 2000. Was it 2005 or was it 2000? No. 2007, 2008, one of them years. I remember the later parts of, the late 2000s. Kobe Bryant and Pam Bryant decided to come around after the marriage, um, between Kobe and Vanessa, and Kobe having his first child. I was remember they were sitting at courtside one of the games, and they supported Kobe Bryant. Now, notice how I said Kobe. They actually, passed the relationship between, themselves and Kobe, and then them bringing a daughter into the scene. What I'm saying, they actually became cool. But Vanessa, obviously, in my personal opinion, never really became very, very warm to Kobe Bryant's parents. And all this stems back to, like I said, Vanessa being a Latina, Kobe Bryant's parents wanted him to marry a black woman, right? So she never really warmed up. You don't even really see any pictures with Vanessa Bryant and Kobe Bryant's parents. If you really look up anything, any type of information, you don't even really see them, with each other. So that's one thing. But let's go into a different article. After 2007, they had like a little bit of a, rekindling, but something happened that really put a strain on their relationship 3 years later in 2011. Um, Kobe Bryant's parents sold Kobe Bryant's memorabilia, or tried to sell it. Um, and you guys know that is what put a monkey wrench really in their relationship. As you guys can see, it says Kobe Bryant doesn't want mom to sell his stuff, right? And this right here says this was an interview that Kobe Bryant had, talking about if his parents were going to be at his retirement ceremony, and he, basically had this quote to say. He said, "Our relationship is shit. I say to them, I'm going to buy you a very nice home, and the response is that's not good enough." He says, "Then you're selling my shit, right?" He says, "Our relationship is shit. I say to them, I'm going to buy you a very nice home, and the response is that's not good enough." He says, "Then you're selling my shit," right? So back in 2011, Kobe Bryant's parents, mainly his mother, wanted to sell Kobe Bryant's, auction off his items. Very similar to what Kobe Bryant's parents are trying to do right now, auction off his items. So it's very, very consistent behavior. Now, let me read this part as well. It said Brian fell out, reportedly fell out with his parents following their 2013 attempt to auction off some of his high school memorabilia. Okay, it was 2013. Fell into attempt to auction off some of his high school memorabilia. A judge at the time ruled that his parents could auction off 6 items, which earned them $500K. Kobe did note, however, that his relationship with his sisters was very strong, and he did not rely on money adding. So, like I said, I'm gonna talk about his sisters in a minute. But Kobe Bryant's parents tried to auction off his memorabilia, and that actually put a monkey wrench on their relationship. Very, very unfortunate situation. But I remember this like it was yesterday. Um, I remember when Kobe Bryant says Kobe Bryant suing his parents. That was the headline. Then I looked deeper and it said Kobe Bryant was actually suing the auction company. I think it was called Goldie Auctions. All right, I think Kobe Bryant was suing them. Um, you know what I'm saying? Speaking upon that, and that kind of, was kind of congruent to what, what they're doing now. Kobe Bryant's parents trying to auction off his, replica ring, his father, that he won in 2001. This is the picture right here. It's it's amazing. This is the picture that actually Kobe Bryant won his second championship, and his parents did not attend, because this is the time that Kobe Bryant and his parents were not speaking to him because of the decision he chose to make to marry, go and marry his wife. His parents did not come around. They were not there for the game, this, that, and the other. So back to what I was saying. Obviously, that put a monkey wrench on their relationship for real. We're in 2024, and they were dealing with a strained relationship for almost pretty much since Kobe, for like 6-7 years, up until Kobe Bryant, passed. Um, Now, as you guys can see, he says in the last testament, it says, however, their relationship with his sisters was strong as they did not rely on him or money adding. So, right here, I want y'all to kind of talk. I want y'all to actually understand, like, with his sisters, it's a little bit of a different relationship. Right here, this is another quote from Kobe. He said, "They're very smart, college-educated women. I'm really proud of them. They were able to get their own jobs, get their own lives, take care of themselves. Now they have a better sense of self, of who they are as people, instead of being resentful because they were relying on me. It was tough for me to do, but it's something that you have to do, something you have to be very strong about," right? So obviously Kobe's sisters took a different approach from their parents. They have a different rapport relationship. You guys actually, see on, Vanessa Bryant's IG, and I think Kobe Bryant's sisters have an Instagram as well. They have a relationship. They had a relationship, when Kobe Bryant passed. That, Kobe had a relationship with his nieces and nephews as well. Um, they definitely had a rapport together. very different from Kobe Bryant and his parents. Um, so you gotta ask yourself the question: why was one, one side seemed like they were actually for Kobe Bryant and actually his wife, and the other side just never really got over the past of something that happened, right? I mean, again, they they had the relationship rekindled back in 2007, 2008. I'm talking about Kobe Bryant and his parents. But then in 2013, they fell out because Kobe Bryant's parents tried to sell his memorabilia. So we have to address a few things. Why did the fallout happen, and why did they try to sell his memorabilia back in 2013? What was really going on? Um, Not to mention Kobe Bryant's sisters. I think Kobe Bryant's sisters was it Shia or Cherie? I think it was Shia came out and actually spoke about how Kobe Bryant's mother spoke about many times selling his stuff and getting money off of it. So she not only rekindled her relationship with her brother, but she also stood up for him and told, in a quote, that she's heard many times of his mother speaking about selling his stuff. Now you got to remember, Vanessa, or for you got to remember, his father, Kobe Bryant's father, is a former basketball player, has made millions of dollars, used to coach for the Los Angeles Spurs. So when I saw that report a few weeks back, seeing that Kobe Bryant's parents tried to sell his championship ring, I automatically said to myself, this has to be dealing with money. Because why would you turn around 4 years after your son's death, 11 years after you telling him and his attorney that you apologize for, selling his memorabilia? Why would you come around years later and do the same exact thing you did the first time, saying that you would not do, unless you were desperate for money? My question only was in the second video, how is a guy of his stature and a guy that actually, um, what I'm saying, was coaching Kobe and is Kobe Bryant's father, how are you in this amount of a desperate situation? What went wrong? What went left? And people weren't asking these questions. People were just saying that Kobe Bryant didn't take care of his parents, right? And I said, well, the same parents that took care of him with no problem when he was, playing ball and making his money, why would he need to take care of his parents other than just gifting them things if he chooses to? Because his father, apparently, the people that give him credit for taking care of Kobe are the same ones begging and pleading Kobe Bryant to take care of him. When in reality, what was there to take care of if you already had the financial and the lifestyle to take care of your family? I'm talking about Joe Bryant. As I mentioned in the last video, Joe Bryant afforded not just Kobe Bryant, but his sisters and his wife a very good lifestyle, right? They lived in a nice neighborhood in Philadelphia. Like I said, Lower Merion is in the suburb of Philly. It's not in the heart of Philly. It's not in the hood. So obviously he was basically living a pretty good lifestyle. So the only thing I could think of was they made a lot of money, but they just mishandled it and misused it. And like I mentioned earlier, I said Kobe Bryant early in his career always gave to his parents, gave them money, gave them an allowance. There was an actual interview. I think Kobe Bryant was a second-year player. I think it was first or second-year player. He was on a talk show. I'm not sure it was the Arsenio Hall show or something, but he joked in a way. He said, "I can give my parents allowance now," but that was really a true statement. He was giving his parents money to live, a comfortable lifestyle. He spoke about this in the NBA Tribune. I think towards the retirement, he spoke about how gifting your family can also hurt them because they can become too reliant on you to the point where they become greedy. Like Kobe Bryant said in his quote, he said, "Our relationship is shit. I say to them, I'm going to buy you a very nice home." And the response is, "That's not good enough." He says, "Then you're selling my shit." So basically, he's already telling you he bought them a nice home, and that home was in Las Vegas. That's a true statement. And they said, "That's not good enough." He says, "Then you're selling my shit." right? So like I said, I'm trying to figure out what I'm gonna call this episode, but I'm gonna come up with the title. But basically, all Kobe Bryant is saying was, I'm trying to, be generous to my parents, but whatever I give to them is just not enough right now. People wanted to talk about Kobe Bryant buying his wife's mother a home um, in LA, in California, was worth more money. But if people actually took the time to understand, one person lives in California, the other person lives in Nevada. Obviously, the housing in Nevada is cheaper than the house in California. So when I see one house costs $5 million, the other house costs 900,000, just putting a number out there, you can't look at the price. You got to look at where you at in the country. California's housing property is definitely higher than Nevada. A lot of people from California move to Nevada because the housing is cheaper. So you can't just pay attention to how much something costs. But that's what people were running with, and they try to demonize Kobe for not taking care of his parents and giving more to one than the other, right? But I debunked that in the second episode. Back to the point. Kobe Bryant and his wife, obviously did not see eye to eye with his parents, Kobe Bryant's parents. And for a long time, they were blaming Vanessa, and they still blame Vanessa to this day. You still got people still blaming her for what happened between the fallout. I'm gonna read one more article, and I'm gonna go into my other thoughts about this. Right. It says Pam and Joe Bryant did not attend Kobe Bryant's retirement ceremony with the Los Angeles Lakers. Right. 20 was it 20? When did he retire? Uh, was it 2018, 2017, 2018? One of those years. The retirement ceremony to Kobe Bryant, his parents did not attend. I remember this as well. I remember, everybody going crazy. So this is basically, they don't attend his retirement ceremony. They have a strained relationship with Kobe Bryant's wife. They come to the funeral, and they don't even know, from what was told by a family friend, when the memorial was. Details were left out. So a lot of stuff was happening, going on, that was very, very strange. Strange in terms of, this isn't how a family acts that's together. But Pam and Joe Bryant did not attend Kobe Bryant's retirement ceremony with the Los Angeles Lakers. So let's read a quick little summary. The Lakers retired both of Kobe Bryant's, both of Black Mama's career numbers 8 and 24 in December 2017. I knew it was 2017. Kobe Bryant attended with his wife Vanessa and daughters Natalia, Gianna, and Bianca. This was before their fourth child Capri was born. However, noticeably absent were Kobe's mother and father. During Kobe's emotional speech, he did not mention or thank either Pam or Joe Bryant. The former NBA star thanked his wife, whom he called his inspiration, and the Hall of Famers who came before him, right? So again, this was back in 2017. Kobe Bryant retires in 2016. He has his retirement ceremony, and he speaks about his family, speaks about his wife, he speaks about his daughters. Speaks about the Hall of Famers before him, but there was something obviously wrong. He did not speak about the two people that brought him to this world, who he had such a close relationship and close bond to, and that was his mother and his father, Pam and Joe Bryant. Now, again, a lot of people do not know what's going on unless they actually read and they actually take more research and time to see what's happening. They saw that this man did not mention his parents at all, but he mentions everybody else. People automatically started raising their eyebrows. Right? Two people that really were his, and from when I seen back in high school, said that they were his heroes. But now all of a sudden things take a big turn. They don't even get mentioned. They don't show up to the ceremony. Um and it was just a very trying time. Right? So I want to expound on a few things. I hope y'all enjoying the show so far. But I want to expound on a few things. When I spoke about this, I wanted to actually get deep into this because, as I told y'all in the last video, I actually know a few people, or I've actually talked to a few people that had a relationship with Kobe Bryant, who lived in his neighborhood in, you know what I'm saying, over in Orange County. And what's the, I can't remember the name of the area. I'm losing. Pelican Cove. That's the name of the area that Kobe Bryant, he had his house in, was Pelican Crest, which is in Irvine. If y'all from California know what I'm talking about. Pelican Crow, which is Newport Beach. That's where Kobe Bryant's house is. That's where his home was. So I was able to, you know what I'm saying, being out here, knowing, you know, what I know. I've spoken to a few people of, you know, talking about how Kobe Bryant was on an every day-to-day basis. Very, very, you know, talkative to the, you know, people in the, you know, community. Very, very, you know what I'm saying, lighthearted. Didn't really walk around with no security. Um, you know, him and his family, him and his wife were, you know, pretty normal people. But I also spoke about how his wife was the one that actually was more protective of Kobe than Kobe was of himself. Like I said, Kobe Bryant didn't really roll around with too much security. Um, but Vanessa Bryant all this always seemed to always have Kobe Bryant's, you know, back, you know, not letting people get too close to him, this, that, and the other. Right. But basically, there was a gentleman, a white man, I remember talking about. He lived right in the same neighborhood Kobe Bryant did, was, you know, in Newport Beach. And he had like a nice car, like a nice black, I don't know what the exact, you know, model of the car was, but him and Kobe Bryant developed somewhat of a rapport because Kobe Bryant had, like, you know, a nice vehicle as well. And I think Kobe Bryant saw his car and, you know, he said, "Oh man, that's a nice car you got." Da, da, da. Now, of course, he was stunned because this was Kobe Bryant speaking, but he said basically Kobe Bryant and his wife, or Kobe Bryant and, you know, him, you know, built a relationship, right? Out of that, you know, out of that time, you built a relationship. And that's just one of the stories, you know, many stories that, you know, I could tell y'all about. But, you know, basically, for the people that called him, you know, arrogant and called him, you know what I'm saying, stuck up, he was actually pretty lighthearted, you know, off the court. I remember Kobe Bryant in the interview talking about that as well. You know, people say that he's arrogant, they don't like him for that reason. And, you know, when they actually get a chance to see him off the court, they say he's nothing like they thought that he was. And that's the mistake a lot of people make, making assumptions on people that they don't even know. I remember you hearing that all the time. You know, people talk about how he was arrogant. They don't even know him. Never had, you know, a chance to sit down and talk with him. They just look at him on the court and just make that about, you know, who he is as a person. But back to my point, the white gentleman that I knew, you know, actually had nothing but good stories to say about Kobe Bryant. He was very, very humble, spoke to people, never, you know what I'm saying, looked down. He was actually a good, you know, good person. Um, but that's one story. So another story was of a black person, a black man who I knew, I had met and had a conversation with. Um, I think we started talking because, you know, randomly, we were, you know, speaking about basketball. And he told me where he was from. He said he's from Philly. And I said, "Oh, my favorite player is from Philadelphia, Kobe Bryant." He said, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, man. I actually know his parents. I actually know his parents, Joe and, you know, Pam Bryant, Joe Jellybean. That's what, you know, they call him. They call him Jellybean Bryant because he used to be able to spring up, you know, like a jelly bean. Like he had, you know, a very, very high vertical. He can jump out the gym. Um, you know, they call him Joe Jellybean Bryant." I'm like, "Oh, that's what's up, man. So you know Kobe Bryant's parents, right?" And he's like, "Yeah, I know them, you know, from them being from Philadelphia." So we got into talking, got into chatting, and, you know, I just think I asked him just outlandish. I said, "Hey, man, so what's the deal with, you know, Kobe Bryant and his parents, man? What's up with that?" This is back in 2000, and I believe, I want to say 16, 17, when, like, I think 16. No, I'm sorry, 2018. I'm sorry, 2018, 2019. I said, what's going on with him and his parents? What's up with that? And he basically just kind of just laughed and giggled and said, "Look, man, um, you know, I know them both, but the whole rift really kind of happened with Kobe Bryant marrying Vanessa." And I said, "Okay, well, yeah, we kind of know that, but what's really going on with that? Like, what's the real reason?" And basically, he said that his, the wife wasn't really messing with, Vanessa being, Latina, right? Pam's from Philadelphia, Joe's from Philadelphia. Obviously, a very blue, hard collar working town. They both come from black neighborhoods, um, and their views are very strong. That's what the man said. He said they weren't really they weren't really messing with the whole interracial mixing, right? And when Kobe Bryant married Vanessa, they automatically said nah. And of course, it was more so the mother than the father. But the father living with Pam, he had to deal with her. He's going to have to side with her, which is why I told y'all in one of the previous video, I said that Joe Bryant should have stuck his foot down, put his foot down, and said that we're not going to, take this route towards our son, right? But obviously, he supported, his wife, and just basically did not, agree with Kobe Bryant marrying a Latin woman, right? So that's two stories right there. That is congruent to what I'm saying and actually posting on here. So let me tell y'all a little bit about my thing and what I think about this, because I have been through something very similar. So as y'all know, I'm 31 years old. I've dated, had relationships with pretty much every race that you can think of. I've been with black women. I've been with, Asian women. I've been with, what I'm saying, Latin women. I've been with Mexican women. Um, I've been pretty much with, the only reason I haven't really been with in a relationship, like a serious one, is white. But I have, of course, I'm saying, dated, white girls. My parents, obviously, from they're two black, one's black and one's mixed. My mother's actually mixed. My father's fully, African American. But they all, of course, they, side with the black side. I side with being a black man myself. Um, I can relate to what this is about. Like I said, Kobe Bryant and his parents fell out because of the person he chose to be with, and because they chose somebody that they did not agree with. They not only were angry, so as angry as to not really, what I'm saying, talk against and not approve of it. They actually didn't even attend the man's ceremony and his wedding. They basically said, we're not going, we're not going to support this. We're not going to come to your wedding, and we're not going to come to your championship celebration as well. Right? Very different from this championship right here. The first one he won when his parents, before they met Vanessa. The second one, Kobe Bryant won, the famous, him being in the shower, looking down. A lot of people did not know this was basically because his parents were not present. They thought this was just a pose. He was trying to be cool. But in reality, he was upset and he was hurt because his parents were not there. His sisters were not there as well, but I mean, more so his parents. He was very, very hurt. This is the year after they met. He met Vanessa and he got involved with her. Very, very different picture and video, different snapshot between the two, right? And of course, 2002 is another, difference. You see Magic in the middle, Magic Johnson, she's killing on the right. There's the parents did not take a picture with them as well. This was, right after, Kobe Bryant and his wife got married, right? But back to my point. My parents are very similar to what Kobe Bryant's parents are. They're both, black older people who grew up in the 70s and 80s. Both from, I'm saying, black, cities, both grew up in the black neighborhoods. My parents grew up in Gary, Indiana. If you guys know where Gary, Indiana is, right outside of Chicago, I think 30 minutes out of Chicago, Illinois, in a black neighborhood, in the inner city. That's really where, my parents grew up, right? They grew up basically in that type of segregated, I'm saying, time that black folks stuck together. Black folks in the civil rights, they stuck together. Um, you marry your own, you stick with your own, you be with your own, you give your best to your own. That's the mindset that they have. That's what's conditioned and conformed in them. Right. So when you take them out of that generation and put them in this generation where you see a lot of interracial mixing and dating, they don't know how to really respond and react to that. They don't really know how to conform to that. There's just a different time now where people are dating of different races, colors, and things of that nature. So when they see this, they looking at like, what the hell is this? Yo, son, what is this, man? What are you doing, man? Right? Well, we used to, where's the melon in that? Where's the sister at? Right? Where's Brandy at? That's who they really wanted Kobe to get with, that Brandy. I guarantee you, if Kobe Bryant married Brandy, yeah, his parents would have been a little bit like shocked that it was young, but they wanted him to marry a black woman, primarily his mother. And that's why I feel like Kobe Bryant's wife, Vanessa, still don't deal with her, because it's a little bit deeper between two women than a man and a woman. A lot of, what I'm saying, ego goes there. But back to the point, I had a situation very similar to that. When I was in college, I had a relationship with a Mexican woman. And I have a sister, I have an older sister as well, who I love dearly. My mother was not really for that. Now it's strange because my mother is mixed her damn self. She wanted me to always be with a black woman, right? My sister, who I love deeply as well, wants me to be with a black woman, but she doesn't really take it to heart as much as my mother did. Because you got to think about this, and this may be conscious or subconscious. When it comes to women and their sons, mothers and their sons, they have a certain bond and relationship. And some of them think if you don't marry somebody similar to them, or you marry outside, they take it as a slap in the face and an insult. So because Vanessa was not a black woman, such as Pam was, she not a black woman, Kobe Bryant's mother, Pam, in a way felt very, very disrespected by that. And that's the same thing that gentleman who I spoke to about earlier talked about. He said that the mother wasn't really messing with it. They're simply women, not just black women, but women of their own. Even I've seen Hispanics do it. I've seen white women do it. Like, if you don't marry your own, then they do not rock with that. And being from Philadelphia, I can already tell that's how they operate. That's a black city, blue collar working city for the most part. That's how his parents grew up. You love, black love. My parents come from a lot of that same mentality. So when they saw me with me being with a Mexican woman, I mean, yeah, they were supportive, but I can kind of tell they're a little bit cold shouldered to her. I remember even one time she telling me that, she was telling me that, hey, your mother, she doesn't really talk to me like, what's up? Like the first time they met, right? And of course, my sister being, supportive of my mother and being protective of her, she was gonna, if she got a problem, my mother got a problem, then my sister's gonna have a problem, right? So basically, like I said, I can relate to this. I can relate to this very much so. Um, I it's weird, but it's the truth. And Vanessa and Pam never got over that. Primarily, Vanessa never got over that. Her being a woman, her being of Mexican descent, and her probably not backing down to what Pam was saying. That she knows Kobe told her about everything his mother thought about her. They sat back and they talked and they, what I'm saying, they had their discussions. That's his wife. He told her everything that, you know, Pam was, you know, feeling about her. She wasn't feeling Vanessa. So obviously Vanessa said, okay, well, shit, I ain't feeling her ass then. I'm not kissing her ass. I'm not conforming to her. I'm not going to, you know what I'm saying, you know, I don't want her around. I don't want her around our kids, our children. I don't want her around Natalia, Gianna, Bianca. I don't want them around them because they don't even respect me. So if they ain't going to respect me, I don't want them around. So Kobe, of course, being who he is and with his wife, had to conform just like Joe Bryant had to conform to his wife, Pam. But the difference is there was an opening, like I said, after that whole they didn't get along after the marriage, where they let the parents back in again when Natalia was born. So you can't say that Kobe Bryant just shut the door on his parents forever and then, you know, do nothing to try to rekindle a relationship. He tried to open the door back for his parents because when his daughter was born, so they can be grandparents. But that didn't last after Kobe Bryant found out how how much control his parents wanted of him. And this is what it's all about. It's really about control. See, when Vanessa came into the picture, you basically taking the power and control away from the parents and giving it to her, right? As the good book reads in Ephesians 14:24 in the word, it says, "For this reason, a man will leave his father and his mother and be united to his wife, and the two will become one flesh." Remember, I told y'all nothing else matters but the scriptures. Nothing else matters but the Bible. You know, I know some people may not be, you know, live their life, but I do. If it's not in the word, if it doesn't line up with the word, then it's not right. So basically, this word is basically saying, for the reason a man will leave his father and mother and be united to his wife, and the two will become one flesh. Basically, what it's saying is, once you choose to get married, that is going to be your number one person from now on. It's no longer your parents. Once you choose a wife, once a man chooses his wife, that is now his number one, not his parents. Do you understand? And that's something where his parents should have taken and said, okay, well, this is the person that's, you know, Kobe has married and Kobe has chosen, so we have to support him. But when Kobe found out and actually, you know, said enough's enough is when it happened, you know, with that memorabilia. That's when everything took a, you know, turn, because now he's looking at it like, you don't even respect me as a man. And that's where I think I'm gonna name this one. I'm gonna talk about. I'm gonna name it something, you know, amongst the lines of respect. You know, black man uh has to demand respect or whatever that may be. But I'm gonna probably name it something of those lines. But to be honest about this, this is no more than just basically trying to get control. Like I said, they could not take somebody else, you know, being Kobe Bryant's, you know what I'm saying, number one person, especially the mother. More the father, of course, I think got over it, because again, this is not like us as men. We usually generally don't get into that catty stuff between women, but the wife Pam was not stopping, and she wasn't going to give in to her feelings, because again, women are emotional. So because they're emotional creatures, it's very hard for them to get over stuff. They have deep rooted memories. They remember the bad over the good. You can do 100 things right and one thing wrong, you're still not good enough. This was pertaining to what Kobe Bryant said. I'm gonna buy you a nice house, and it's still not good enough, right? And all it was because they were comparing, more so, in my opinion, the mother was comparing her lifestyle to the Vanessa's parents' lifestyle. Oh, you buying her, you know, a huge house, or you buying her? Why does her house cost more than our house? This, that, and the other. Instead of just being grateful for the home that he bought you and understanding that it's going to be more money out in California than Nevada, you chose to be resentful and be, you know what I'm saying, resentful towards Kobe because you had your personal feelings. You couldn't put those aside. Again, Kobe did not approve. He did not want his parents not to be at his wedding. Look at this Look at this picture. Does that look like somebody who was happy that his parents were not there? If I'm not mistaken, there's an interview. I can't remember. It's a black lady, and Kobe Bryant spoke about how hurt he was not having his parents around. And as I could tell in this picture, that's very, very true. Your parents ain't around to support you, and your parents ain't there to share your moment. Why would he? Why would he purposely keep them from being, you know, in his celebrations? He wanted his parents around, but they chose because of their own pettiness. More so, the mother chose not to be there because his son decided to make a grown up decision. Her son decided to make a grown up decision and be a man. And too many times I've even dealt with this too. When you decide to be a man and stand on your own 2 feet, even if that means going against what your parents are saying, they take it as disrespectful. Understand something. You honor your mother and your father, but you don't have to listen to everything that they tell you to do, especially if you are financially stable enough to do what you want. You listen to the advice of your parents, you honor, you respect their work, but at the end of the day, it's your decision. Because at the end of the day, they're not going to be able to have to live the life that you have to. They're not going to have to be able to lie down with this woman. That they're not going to have to be able to lie down with your wife. And I'm speaking to everybody here. I'm sure a lot of y'all probably dealt with your in-laws not liking your, significant other, your wife, or, what I'm saying, your girl, and you have to pretty much say, look, this is who I'm going to marry. This is who I'm going to be with. I want y'all here, but y'all going to respect my wife. And they probably took it as, damn, well, I'm out then. If you guys, if that's how you, talk to me, we raised you. We were there for you. We were there when you couldn't, take care of yourself. Same stuff my parents were telling me about this situation. They were so against Kobe Bryant for years, and I think they're still against him to this day because they took it as it was a disrespectful thing for his parents not to be there. But like I told him, I'm like, look, there was their choice not to come to the wedding. It was their choice not to be around for his, championship ceremony. It was their choice to be, resentful because they could not no longer control him. See, when he was giving them what they wanted, and it was nobody in the way to really, uh, what I'm saying, be his number one. It was all good. You made all the decisions. You know, that was all fine because you had control. But now that he chose to be with a wife and choose his wife, now it's an issue. Now it's, you don't love your parents, you don't honor your parents, you don't respect your parents, even though I've mentioned many times he took care of his parents and gave them plenty of financial assistance. And here's something else before I close. For all the people who came and said Kobe Bryant was wrong in marrying Vanessa and Kobe Bryant didn't know what he was doing, he was too young, this, that, and the other, the man obviously knew something that we didn't, because they had a 20 plus year marriage. And now, of course, there were some obstacles that came with it, but mostly, to be honest with you, became because of Kobe. Kobe Bryant was the one that pretty much dropped the ball multiple times. He dropped the ball in 2003 when he, allowed himself to, to get, in a bad situation, Eagle, Colorado. Y'all know the story. That was on Kobe, and the person that stood by him was his wife. That was the only person that stood by him. This was after his parents pretty much said deuces. They dipped. They were not around. They did not support their son in a trying situation where he can be in jail. He can be in prison. That time, if y'all remember, Kobe Bryant was actually looking to face prison time with rape. A black man with a white woman. Even at the prestige he was at, the height of his career, that was a very serious situation where he could have had some jail time behind that. His parents not one time spoke up for him. But you know who was right there beside him? His wife. A person's character is not judged when things are going well. It's judged when things are not going so well. Right? Right after that, it was produced that in the book that Kobe Bryant's wife had a miscarriage, and she lost her second child after Natalia was born. And Kobe believes that it was because of the stress he put her through because of that whole trial situation. Then, of course, in 2011, Kobe Bryant and his wife were on, edge of getting a divorce because she believed that Kobe Bryant was cheating. And like I said, it wouldn't shock me because, again, living the life of an athlete of that stature is very, very, very difficult. When you talk about women, you have the best and beautifulest women throwing themselves at you left from right. It takes a lot of resistance to the point where a lot of athletes just say, you know what, I'm just gonna go ahead. Let's just go ahead and have an agreement. I take care of the home. I take care of the kids. I take care of the family financially. I have to do that responsibly, but I have the privilege of, doing my thing on the side with other women. A lot of athletes do that because they cannot deal with the temptation. They can't handle it. So Vanessa said to herself, I think that this man is cheating on me. And they almost got a divorce for good. And of course, 2 years later, they called it off. Vanessa called it off. Now, if she was so against Kobe Bryant, she didn't take none of his fortune. She could have left him and basically took half of his estate. She didn't do none of that. She stuck with him. So that should have already proven that she was not about the money. She was not about trying to get over him. She truly saw that 17-year-old kid that she fell in love with. Like I told y'all, and from my experience with Mexican women, they get married very, very early. They believe in traditional values for the most part. They believe in love. They believe in all that shit. Now, me, myself, I wasn't really brought up like that. I wasn't brought up to marry at a young age. I'm 31. I'm still not married. I'm still looking to find my bride. But like I'm saying, he's seen something that no one else really did. So there should be some credit that's given there. Like he saw something in her, and even right now, she's not just going off and trying to, date out. And I mean, she has every right to date now because death do us part. But she's being very respectful of Kobe Bryant's legacy. She's not a person that's trying to, be in front of the line. She's not. You don't really hear nothing from her. She's been the same. She doesn't. You don't hear nothing about Vanessa Bryant really in the public. Even when Kobe Bryant was at the height of his career, you never really saw nothing about her in the public. So my point is that men have to demand respect, even if that means you ruffling some feathers, because certain people are not going to understand until you actually make a move and you stand by what you believe in. Right? But I hope y'all enjoyed this one, man. This is volume 3 of the Kobe Bryant series. I'll be dropping another video probably today, another, series, but I'll probably have one more episode on this Kobe Bryant series, but I'll be going to another series today as well. All right, but you guys continue to support. Thank you for all the love. Thank you for sharing this video. All right, peace.